Well, hello everybody. Been waiting for this day. This is Wednesday, the 7th of June, moving right along. And I hope that this Wednesday is a day where you will see some things different about your personal relationship with Jesus and with your relationship with the Holy Spirit. As I said, this month of June, we're going to be talking about the Holy Spirit. I went through a whole list of items where Jesus' life was totally related to the Holy Spirit, from his birth to his death to his resurrection and even to his coming back again. Now, I will look at one portion, and we're going to talk about the Comforter. The Comforter. It says this in John 14:16, "And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another Comforter." Those were the comforting words that Jesus was passing on to his disciples because they looked upon Jesus as a comforter. Look at the people that he comforted in his lifetime. Let's go to Mary Magdalene. This is a woman that was tormented by demons. And Jesus came and healed her and cast out 7 demons. Can you imagine the comfort that was in her life? To have all of that demonic oppression, depression, whatever else those demons were doing to her, and have them relieved. Think about people you might know, or that I know, that have had the comfort of their addictions removed. Those addictions are demonic. You can call them what you want, but they are demonic. From the standpoint of Satan wants to bring those addictions upon people for one purpose and one purpose only: to destroy them. To destroy them. They might not kill them right off the bat, but it will destroy their life. And the happiness that could be in their life, the joy that could be in their life. And until they are relieved of those, they won't have any true joy, any true comfort. I've seen that in my personal life. Not that I was addicted, but I've known people that were addicted, alcoholics, drugs, even legal drugs, being hooked on certain drugs that they can't do without. And they were in torment. They might have not told you that so much, but when you looked upon their life, they were in torment. Jesus taught about the Holy Spirit and what he was going to leave. He was saying that the Holy Spirit is going to come alongside of you and be with you and be your guide, just like I have been. Just like I have been. And you know, I want to think upon something else. If the Holy Spirit is going to come alongside and guide us, he's also going to be in a form controlling us, giving us direction, not as a robot, but as one that says, I want you to think about this. You know, you give people the right to bring into some control into your life. If you're addicted, you're out of control. You're out of control. Let's face it. If you're addicted to alcohol, or maybe you think you're not addicted to alcohol, but you go and drink and drink and drink and drink and drink, so who's in control? Every drink you take by your hand. It might be poured by another hand, but you tilt it up and take it in. But you'll be out of control. You'll be out of control because in a matter of time, if you drink too much, you might know what you're doing. I'll just put a personal reference. In my younger days, well over 50 years ago now, I was told I drank like a fish by some of my judo partners. And perhaps I did. Probably I did. But I can recall one event where our base football team, we won the base championship. And we threw a party. I believe for our unit, we had about 110 or 120 cases of beer. And let's put it this way, I had a few too many. Everybody was having a good time. And then a friend of mine looked and said, "Hey, Doc, hey, Frage, you're bleeding. You're bleeding over your eye." And I'm going, "I am?" He said, "Yeah, go to the bathroom and take a look." And sure enough, I was bleeding. In other words, I didn't have control of my balance. And what I could tell, I probably, and I don't know for sure, I probably slipped on some of the ice that had been thrown on the floor. And I remember they took me down to the hospital. The corpsman looked at me and said, "Yeah, you're going to need stitches." And he said, of course, he had to put it in his record, said, "Well, what happened? Well, how did this happen?" And I simply said, I think I slipped on a piece of ice. And he said, "Yeah," because he could smell my jacket and it was smelling like beer. I got stitched up, went back to the gathering. I didn't drink anymore that night, but I was not in control. I was not in control. The forces of the alcohol upon my body, upon my mind, says I was out of control. Now, you know, the Holy Spirit wants to be in a position where He can guide and direct your actions so you're not out of control, so He can be in control. When you go back and read some of those words and the testimonies of Jesus' life, you can see that the Holy Spirit was in control in so many functions of Jesus' life. Right here, Matthew 4:1, Mark 1:12, Luke 4:1, it says, Jesus was led by the Holy Spirit. If He's being led, you could say He was being controlled. If you walk down the street and you've got children and you have a small child, you want to hold their hand. Now, they might be able to walk on their own, but you want to hold their hand because they are out of control when it comes to being on the street. They could run out in the street. They could trip, whatever. So you want to give them that comfort of holding them up. I don't know if I shared this before, but I remember the comfort that my dad gave me when I was young and we were living in Santa Barbara, California. And from a very young age, I have been involved in the ocean and fishing and swimming and surfing, etc. Not so much surfing on a board, but body surfing. I was pretty good at that. But I can remember as a young, I don't know, let's see, my dad was going to college up there, so I had to be maybe 2 to 3 years old, and we walked out on the Santa Barbara Wharf Pier, walked out there, and I had big boards, huge boards, but there was gaps in between. And as far as was concerned, at my young age, I could have slipped through those cracks. Now, the cracks were probably only 2 or 3 inches wide. So, even as a young kid, I was pretty good size. So I wasn't really going to slip down through them. But I asked my dad to pick me up. I wanted him to be in control of where I was going. I wanted him to be my comfort and my guide in that area. And that's what Jesus, when he said, I'm sending a comforter and he's just like me, that's exactly what he wants to do. He also wants to be to us as a comforter and a guide, as a coach, one that will give us direction of where we need to go, where we need to think about what we're doing. Now, our men's group the other night, we talked about purpose in our life. And what is the purpose that God would have for us? Well, Jesus wants to coach us in those purposes. We can ask for a purpose to be within our life. My greatest belief is our purpose in life as a Christian is to share Jesus Christ, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the comfort that can come from Christ in all sorts of situations. That should be a purpose regardless of what we're doing. Now, I was a military officer. I've been a businessman. I was a small-time rancher for a while. I've served as, going out as a missionary. I've served in other positions. But I believe that in all of those, I understood my purpose was to share Jesus Christ in some form or fashion. If nothing else, just to show his love for somebody else, to show his patience for somebody else, and to pray for people. That's a purpose. That's a purpose we all can be involved in. I'm going to close with this for today, and it comes out of Ephesians 1 and verse 13. Let me see if I can find this. Ephesians 1 and verse 13. Okay. And it talks about being sealed. Talks about being sealed. That we are sealed by God. Well, I can't find it I didn't bring my Bible. I bought another reference tool, and I can't find it. But let me just share it with you. It talks about being sealed. And when I looked up the word seal or sealed, it had two connotations. And basically, they meant the same thing. One was to seal like a bottle, to have like a wax seal around that bottle. The other one was from the ages past, where they used wax and a seal. It might have been a signet ring, it might have been some other metal object that had some sort of a designation on it. And when you put that seal on an envelope, it was closed, it was protected by the one's authority over it. So you see, God, by the power of the Holy Spirit, has sealed us for himself. He has sealed us for himself. I'm going to carry on with that a little bit later as we continue through here, because being sealed and being under the control of the Holy Spirit go together. So we will see you on Friday. And this is my prayer. This is my prayer for you right now. The Holy Spirit is working in your life. And I say, Lord, let the Holy Spirit come in a mighty way that everybody who listens to this will say, I want more. I want more of an infilling of the Holy Spirit. I want more of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit in my life, and I will allow God, in the power of the Holy Spirit, to control my life day by day, so that the relationship I have with you, dear Lord, is absolutely awesome and the way you want it, because you are my Lord, my Savior, and my Comforter in the Holy Spirit. We'll see you on Friday at Cast to the Right Side.